I believe she is saying that horses are older than humans as a species. The native equine was enjoying this planet way before humans came. But this was not without risk for them. Horses experienced broken legs, terrible deaths, predation. Some mares died in childbirth and agony. They endured extremes of weather, and yet it was worth the risk to experience the elements of this planet in this density and then carry that experience with them. For the rest of the time, they would know themselves as self-knowing individuals. She continues, there are many more places and layers that horses exist than the earth. Other places in universe, other planets. She said, we may be tiny or giant depending on the energy available in those places. Some horses reincarnate here, but the vast majority only want to experience Earth once. But we know to be true of the greater realities in this density, we come to experience the light, the warmth, the feeling of a coat, the feeling of rain, of snow, of wind, sunshine, the having a horse mother, the taste of milk, the taste of grass, the friendship and camaraderie with other horses, for we are as social as elephants. But most of us only come here once. Horses have to make their way wherever they are. They also have internal guidance and many more tools than you would even guess at. When we choose to become horses here on the planet, we know of the suffering possible here, just as you know of the suffering possible here before you come to this planet. Don't think we don't know, we do. And yet we are creatures of love. We are angelic forms, just like your dogs and cats are. We are of a much higher position in energy than humans are. But like many creatures drawn to the experience of the physical world, we come because the elements on this planet cannot be experienced in any other place or way. Now, we do not carry suffering the way you humans do. Your suffering is recycled over and over and over. We may come here, but then never come here again because we don't have to. We now have the memories. We now have the taste of the elements here in our memory. There is an understanding that we will suffer when we come. You don't remember, but you also had an understanding that you would suffer when you come. This is the price, the cost of experiencing this density, these elements. There is always a cost to the manifestation, but never a cost to the fundamental energy of any being. I then fell to my knees in front of this magnificent being and apologized for the ignorance of our entire species, to enslave horses for our ego, to overlook the pain and suffering that we cause horses. And I myself may have caused suffering inadvertently through my ignorance. I cannot even tell this horse how ashamed I am of the cruelty of humans. I ask, is forgiveness possible? She continues, any suffering a human causes to a horse is returned to that human like a boomerang, but perhaps in ways that are not seen, or the connection isn't made. But you cannot avoid the suffering. Ignorance is no excuse. The suffering is returned to you, and you must bear your suffering the way we bore our suffering. But not every horse experiences extreme suffering here. But every horse does return to the horse consciousness pool, our heaven. And those who need to experience something very different from their life on earth will have the choice to run, to have plenty of food, to experience their best memories, whether it's with a friend or just the comfort that they did not have on earth. As you know, horses suffer greatly on earth. But death is not the ultimate tragedy for us, the way it should not be for you, because we always carry the good parts with us. And even the good parts that have to do with humans. For example, my caring for Lewis with his bug bites, he was absolutely amazed that you even noticed, let alone mitigated, a terrible itching that comes with those particular tiny bugs. He remembers that. He remembers there was a human that he cared, that cared deeply that he not suffer. He enjoyed being loose and free. Do not think that you failed him entirely, and he did not fail you entirely. She said, what you don't understand is the good experience horses that I had far outweighed any suffering that I might have caused them. When we first moved up here, we had 5 horses and no barn. It was fall. The barn was being built. We turned all 5 of them loose in a 26-acre hayfield. There was a shed up there and there was water up there, but they were able to go into the woods. There was no fence. They were able to be self-governing. A lot of times I'd go up in the morning. It would take me quite a while to find them. They were back in the woods, but I went up with grain and I called them and they would come for the grain. I was fairly sure somebody would show up at some point. Now, the horse continues in meditation. For even those brief moments, for those few months, none of those horses had experienced that kind of freedom ever. And maybe that's why Lewis wanted that kind of freedom too, because he knew that other horses had experienced that freedom here. So when you think about all the tragedy, the losses of your beloved horses from your point of view, you don't understand that the horses have good memories from their point of view, that they have gifts that they took with them, that they all took, good memories of my husband and myself. But link your memory, she continues, of being able to save one of my horses' life. His name was Clark. He had severed an artery out in a rough area of the pasture. And I put a tourniquet above the cut and then bandaged the cut. And I got him back to the barn right about the same time the vet got there, and it saved his life. I mean, I was able to save a horse's life. That one occurrence, she says, you treasure, you hold. And horses have those too. They have moments from their life with you that they treasure and they carry with them. They have long since cleansed themselves of any suffering. Horses do not bring it with them. They are not like humans. Horses bring the beauty and the goodness, and they are cleansed of the suffering. They leave it with their body. You must know, you must understand that it was not the horror that you think it was. You torture yourself and you don't need to. We are free. We are free now of any suffering. If you want to torture yourself about the unnamed, unloved animals, If you want to feel bad for Mother Earth. Your species has overtaken this planet, and she will remove you at some point. Treasure what you feel, the beauty of this planet, the elements, and don't torture yourself that you cannot have horses anymore. This is interfering with what you came here to do, she said. You must let this go. You must understand that every creature you've ever been with had moments of kindness from you. They also had moments of joy that had nothing to do with humans, but you supported them in that experience. It is because of your physicality that you don't understand this, that your heart is so broken, but they are not broken. No horse is ever completely broken. They may suffer the way we suffer, but they don't imagine themselves broken. Don't imagine yourself broken without the horses. That is ego. That is unnecessary. Get on with your work. Our time with you is over. And someday, one by one, we will tell you what our greatest memories were. You know some of them, but you may be surprised what the horses really enjoyed. For example, they really enjoyed showers from the hose when it was hot outside, the way I gathered food that I thought they might enjoy and make them happy. I focus too much on the death, on the release. I focus too much on the loss. She says, you don't know of the great joys and pleasures and friendships and conversations and curiosity that horses had when they were with my husband and I. You just don't know that. My husband holds on to the sorrow, the sadness, and the failure too. But the horses don't. They hold on to the beautiful moments, many of which didn't have anything to do with us, except that we provided the place, food, shelter, water. Water particularly is important to horses. You need to have this perspective with yourself. Don't bring the sorrow and the suffering with you when you die. You have so much beauty in your life, so many beautiful events. Think of the beauty and not the suffering. Lewis had his pockets full of joy when he left you, and he shared the adventures that he had with you when he came here to horse heaven. Lewis was the last, and that's the end of the meditation. Lewis, Lewis, if you following the series on karma, Lewis was the one that informed me about karma. And so I hope that this helps every human who feels guilt over the loss of a beloved pet, and of course our hearts. I mean, to me, you may have all seen that photograph of the dog and the man in the street in, I believe he was in Kiev. It looked like a mastiff. It was a very, very large dog. And the dog, because of the shelling and the noise, was paralyzed with fear. Literally, the dog was laying on the street, and the man was kissing his head, trying to get him to get up, but he couldn't get the huge dog to follow him. So he had to put the dog back where they had lived together. And I presume the man went to the air raid shelter. So animal guilt has really plagued me all my life. I mean, I imagine that I've caused my animals suffering, and so maybe this meditation will help you, because we have to make choices about these beings that are so much greater than we are. They are so much more than we are. We need to aspire one day to be angelic like they are. So thank you for coming to play with my ideas today, and I'll see you soon.